on Clearing the Clutter Inside and Out, we're talking about taxes. Are you getting every possible tax deduction? Have you had to pay penalties and fines because you filed late? Do you feel overwhelmed at the thought of organizing your taxes or gathering everything to hand over to an accountant? Learn tips to get your taxes in order as we begin our month focusing on tidying up 2017. Are you ready to clear your clutter and share your gifts with the world? Every Tuesday at 1 p.m., join me on Clearing the Clutter Inside and Out as I teach you how to navigate the waters to declutter your life, get organized, and become more mindful. I'm an award-winning professional organizer, author, and certified life coach, and I destroy the box and examine clutter in all areas. Every episode, I'll give you take action steps that you can easily apply to your life. Come on, let's get started. Today's episode is inspired by a few things. We have the good old Benjamin Franklin quote, "But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain, except death and taxes." Also because we got a letter from the IRS because our previous accountant from 2015 had failed to check that we both had health insurance. I was honestly surprised by this. Think of people who have illegal offshore accounts to skirt taxes, people who aren't paying their taxes, and they are coming back 2 years later because one box hadn't been checked. I guess the good news is they're paying attention. I'm just not sure they're paying attention to the right people, if I'm honest. Today's episode was also inspired by a client who was doing her taxes from last year. So they were late. They were 2016, and here we are then 2017. And one of the things I did was support her in getting her taxes and files in order for this. It was incredibly stressful for her. Now, her accountant had filed an extension. I don't know if there are going to be any fines or late fees, but I don't know about you. I'm happy. I know I can contribute and pay taxes. I don't want to pay any more than I have to. This was also inspired because when I first moved to Los Angeles, one of my many jobs was an assistant, and I use that loosely. This was not one of my brighter moves, but it was a friend of a friend, and I'll never forget this. He had a big paper bag of receipts that I had to deliver to the accountant. That was one of my assistant jobs. I remember going into the accountant and I was embarrassed. I said, "I'm really sorry. I was just told to drop these off." And she looked at me and she said, "It's fine. I get paid either way." She probably was paying some high school kid to sort out the receipts. I know if I was an accountant, that's what I'd do. She would do her skills and making sure he didn't get thrown in jail. But she was charging, I'm sure, her hourly rate and making good money because he wasn't organized and didn't take the time to gather his receipts. So again, this saves you money. You can have the choice of just giving a big old paper bag full of receipts to your accountant, or do as much to organize it to save your accountant time, and therefore you get charged less. And then finally, I wouldn't want anyone to have to pay fines and definitely not end up in jail. I also, having said that, make sure I get every possible deductions for my taxes. You're going to want to come up with a system for organizing your receipts for your taxes, and I'll talk about a few possibilities. I personally use a hybrid way to keep track of taxes, so I use both electronic and paper. Let's begin with paper. I use an accordion file, and all the tabs match what I have in an Excel spreadsheet. So for example, I will have donations that are listed in the Excel spreadsheet. And so when my husband or I have made a donation, have who it's to, the amount, the date, all that good stuff. And then the corresponding paper receipt goes into the accordion file. I also have separate files for my husband and me, as well as my business. You might not want to use an accordion file. You could keep in a simple file folder, and every time you get paper that's a tax deduction, put it in there. I do encourage you to organize it though, so you don't have to pay your accountant to do that. Again, a simple file folder that you have hanging around. Or you might prefer to use a box for receipts. Keep it next to where you pay bills, so once you've reconciled, which I hope you do, always check the bank statements and credit card statements. I found errors. Once you've reconciled, boom, it goes right into the receipt box. Whatever makes the most sense to you. It has to be something you will maintain. That's the key. If you have a system for paying bills or a system for keeping track of your files, I'd encourage you to do something that is similar or compatible with that because you're already using something that works for you. Electronic. I suggest setting up an email address dedicated to bills only and a separate account if you do everything electronically. For example, CoraccioBills@gmail.com. For a fee, you can use File This to link with all your online accounts and get a complete overview of your accounts: banks, wealth, health, auto, utilities, communication, and retail. That might be a really simple way for you to find out everything you need and then create a spreadsheet or a printout. Are you overwhelmed each holiday season? Do you try and stay organized but can't keep up with it all? Would you like to reduce your stress during the holidays instead of having it grow? My proven coaching, training, decluttering, and organizing tips can get you where you need to be quickly. Check out my class in MP3 or video format. How to get organized, reduce stress, and stay sane during the holiday season. Go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com under the Life Organization tab where you'll see classes. You can scan your copies and keep on your computer. Keep it simple. 2015 taxes, 2016 taxes. I just have a folder that says taxes. Within that, the year, 2010 through 2017. You can use Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, or Google Drive for electronic receipts and keeping backups of previous tax returns. I have always heard to keep for 7 years, but check in with an accountant. As I told you at the beginning of the episode, I was surprised to hear about a box being unchecked from a couple years ago. It's important to have the backups on hand. Software. I'm going to encourage you, like I do every episode, do your homework and research. I did some research and found that TurboTax is supposed to be very easy to use, and H&R Block software got really good reviews. You can also use accounting software like Quicken or QuickBooks. There are a lot out there. It may save you time in the long run. It also may be worth it to hire someone to set it up for you, show you the ropes, and then you do everything going forward. Keeping track of receipts. Because I'm a small business owner, I need to keep track of my expenses, including items such as heat and electricity, because I work from home. My system for saving receipts is twofold. Again, I try to simplify as much as I can. If I have a paper receipt, I have a folder for the year. I have a big envelope where I keep all of my paper receipts, anything that I charge on the credit card. I also have a file folder that says 2017. If the receipt is to be used for taxes, it goes right into the file, right next to the big envelope. So as soon as I'm done reconciling my credit card or bank statements, it goes right into the tax file. In my email account, I have a purchases folder as well as a tax folder with the year. If a purchase is tax deductible, I move it to the tax folder after I've checked it against my credit card statement. Create a system to deal with your receipts. As you just heard, mine is very easy. I like it because it is so easy, I maintain it. It doesn't matter how you set it up, but it needs to work for you and your lifestyle and something that you will continue to do. If you create a system for your receipts, but never use it, it won't work. Finally, in my opinion, it is worth it for you to hire a professional. Our new accountant caught something that it was something I never would have been able to catch. I know what my skill set is, and it certainly isn't accounting. I don't want to get in trouble, and I also want to get every deduction due. So I'd encourage you to consider hiring an accountant if you haven't already. Take actions. Decide whether you will use paper or electronic for your taxes and receipts, or create a hybrid. Choose software to help you keep track of it all. Create a system to keep track of your receipts. Consider hiring a professional. If you're open to that, ask family and friends for suggestions. Start 2018 ready to roll and be organized with your taxes. On our next episode, we're talking about going with grace. Go out, clear the clutter to create the life you choose, deserve, and desire. Sign up for our newsletter at reawakenyourbrilliance.com and receive a free copy of 10 Steps to Clearing the Clutter Inside and Out. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love it if you would rate and review the show. See you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Remember, when you clear your clutter, you can create the life you desire.